Okay, you guys are now live.
Welcome to Lagoon City Parks and Waterways for Thursday, December 11th. The opening meeting will be playing our blurb. Colton, please.
Today's meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara YouTube channel. Be advised that by attending a public meeting of the Commission, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and will form a part of the public record. The Chair, CAO, or Secretary have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming in exceptional circumstances where the content of the debate is considered inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in unacceptable behavior or comments.
Thank you, Colton. We'll start our meeting. City Parks and Waters Commission meeting agenda dated December 11th, 2025. Recommendation that the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission agenda dated December 11th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Put on the floor, please. Commissioner Shoesmith, second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? All in favor? Adoption of minutes 3.1. Minutes of the meeting held on October 9th, 2025. Lagoon City Parks and Waters Commission minutes PDF. Guess we'll put that on the floor then. So we put on the floor, the mayor, second by Commissioner Hart. Any discussion? No? All in favor? It's passed. 3.2 minutes of the meeting held on November 26, 2025. The recommendation was that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as presented at the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission meeting minutes dated October 9, 2025, and a special meeting of the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission re-canal aeration system compressor repair replacement minutes dated November 26, 2025. Put on the floor, Commissioner Hart, second by the mayor. Any discussion? No. All in favor? One's passed. Does anybody have any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Nothing. Open forum regarding agenda items only. We do have somebody, Georgie Jennings. I think this is the first person I've ever had do this. 7.1. And you've read all this. I don't need to read this. I number like the whole blurb there. You've read it all. Okay. So you've got 2 minutes, right, to do this. Do you want me to give you a warning when it's coming up, or how would you like me to do that? I figured you'd do that. You'd be prepared. I knew you'd be prepared, but I wanted to ask you. That's not a problem. Okay, whenever you're ready.
You'll need your microphone, Georgie.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Excuse me. I want to speak about item 7.1 on the October 2025 account voucher. This commission usually passes a motion to receive the voucher as information, but this time you might want to question a particular line item. Please focus your attention to the second line item on the accounts voucher. It's an adjustment for legal costs. As a Lagoon City taxpayer and levy payer, I'm incredulous with the $144,744.04 being charged to the Lagoon City levy payers. At approximately $900 per household, the total amount awarded in the decision of costs is the sum total of the annual levy paid by 160 Lagoon City families. Currently, much attention has been focused on the Ramara Code of Conduct. In Section 959, the Ramara's Code of Conduct is for members of council and appointed members of committees. Council as a whole, excuse me, Council as a whole has the authority to approve budget policy and process. In 11, it says that the fiduciary responsibility exists between council and the inhabitants of the municipality. And in section 510, the Code of Conduct states that council is responsible for and dedicated to providing effective government for the public in an open, accountable, and transparent way. The decision of cost amounts of $144,744.04 has been paid. The question of which account or accounts should be charged is what I'm proposing today. There are concrete reasons why the township should not be allowed to exploit the Lagoon City taxpayers in order to fund the council and commission procedural misconduct and bad faith. I refer you to the December 24 court decision, a document in the public domain. In paragraph 192, Mr. Ewart, the township solicitor, made the argument that the actions of the committee, the LPC, PWC, are to be distinguished from the conduct of the council. The court responded by saying that respectfully, that cannot be done in the circumstances of this case, as there's far too much evidence that the township's decision to pass the new bylaw was done in counterpart with the commission's wishes. Paragraph 195 said that the blending of the commission and the council is dictated by the Ramara Act, which provides that the commission must be comprised of 2 members appointed from council and 3 owners or tenants from Lagoon City residents. The court's March 2025 decision of cost documents, which is in the public domain, was addressed to respondents. The respondents are the Township of Ramara and the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission. The decision of cost document includes the following statements. In paragraph 46, it says, the costs are to be imposed jointly and severally on the respondents. In 47, it says the court orders that the cost shall be paid jointly and severally by the respondents to the applicants, fixed in the amount of $144,694.05.
Georgie, you're almost done. You're 4 minutes now.
Pardon?
You're 4 minutes. You had 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I finish the
Yeah,
last
just
bit?
finished. I was just
Thank
giving you a
you.
heads up.
The judge was clear in her orders that the responsibility to indemnify the applicants for their costs was to be shared equally by the council and the commission. As levy payers, we must be vigilant as to who should pay. There may be other charges in the future. Reserve funds from the Lagoon City levy must not be used to cover the tab for this cost award. The township was not given and does not have the privilege of deciding who pays. The court has established that the township and the Parks and Waterways Commission are equally responsible for the court or the costs. The judge was clear in her orders that the responsibility to indemnify the applicants for their legal costs was to be shared equally by the township and the commission. I have two questions for the commissioners that represent the Lagoon City levy payers on this commission. Are you going to look at this journal entry and receive it as information? Or are you and join the township in defying the court's orders? Or are you going to intercede and prevent the Lagoon City taxpayers from paying the total of the $144,744.04, which is the amount of the cost order? Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the time, Cal.
Okay. Next on the agenda is accounts and budgets. Accounts and budgets dated October 30th, 2025. Recommendation that the accounts vouchers dated October 31st, 2025 be received as information. So we're going to be talking about that again on October for the October one, so we can cover them in one, I guess, when we go over it.
Through the chair, we do have them as separate motions and separate items at this time.
So I'll
If you'd
just go
like,
through each one then.
if you would prefer one motion to deal with them all at once, we could do so, or we can do them as separated as they are currently.
We could put them together though, right? It's the same thing almost, right? Nothing really changed. Like everything's pretty well the same except the dollars. I only looked at the newest one. I didn't look at the oldest one.
Yes. So would you like to group the two accounts vouchers and the two budget to actual reports?
It doesn't matter to me. I'll do the first one. We'll just go right through it then.
Okay.
Okay, let's do the first one. Put that on the floor. Do I have to put on the floor? The mayor? Well, let me read it first. Recommendation, the accounts vouchers, day October 3rd, be received as information. The mayor has put on the floor, second by Commissioner Shoesmith. Discussions on that. So got to go to that one. I'm assuming we can talk about what she just talked about if we wanted to now. So does anybody want to talk? Because we're not allowed to discuss when somebody speaks. We all read that. Okay. I don't have it up right now. So if somebody wants to speak to it, do you want to speak to it, Mayor?
I could say, if you wanted, you could draft as part of the motion to send some of the comments made here to council for a response. I have no objection to that. Where it said the costs were to be shared, wouldn't hurt to send that letter and council. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what their answer will be. Council is acting on behalf of. And it's no different than our water budgets or our sewer budgets. Say if we were to get sued at one of the sewer plants or one of the water plants because somebody got sick, at the end of the day, when all the bills were settled, that would come out of the water budget. That's where council would send it because it had to do with the water department. They're acting on behalf of the water department, right? But it doesn't hurt. It's here. If you want that clarification from council, they can certainly provide that in a letter.
Well, I think we should. I can now talk about what the lawyer, because we did deal with this. Like the Parks and Waterways did deal with it. And Tom and I did speak to the lawyer about it. And there was discussion that went back and forth. And our lawyers basically said that legally we can fight it and go to court, but the chances of winning 60% for us, 70 maybe, that's it, right? If we're to win, but the amount of money that we're about to spend, is it really worth it to do it? And to me, it's not worth it to fight it because we've already spent, this $150,000, which to me seems really high when our lawyers cost us less than 50,000. So to me, it's kind of really, really high. And apparently there's nothing we can do about it because the judge has said you have to pay that. So we can't even argue and fight this in court, right?
No, the appeal period's gone. The appeal period was gone before the costs were handed out.
Yeah. Which to me would be questionable whether or not we could take that to court, right? Because it should have been out beforehand because we would have appealed it immediately. So that's where I wasn't part of the discussion, right? But those are sort of things that maybe should be looked at, but we have done our due diligence. We looked at it and you can see the costs when we went to our lawyer and we dealt with it. And this is if council or if the commission wants to say, let's take them on court, by all means, put it forward and do it. But that's not my recommendation. It's just a waste of money. We're not going to win. And even if we win, what did we win? We just beat each other up. So I'm hoping they might do the right thing then if we send it to council.
What I would suggest is send it with that little paragraph of the judge's ruling so that that's sent as it goes to council, right? So then all that information lands on the council's lap and we can have another look at it.
Right. Because our lawyer did say that's the right thing to do. They shouldn't really be splitting with us, right? But that's what do you do, right? You got to go to council and it's up to the council to make the decision.
One thing I will say though, all the bills of the township lawyer has been paid by Parks and Waterways all the way through. Each time, each court appearance, it come out of your vouchers each time. So you were paying the township lawyer, your lawyer.
I didn't see that.
For the whole case up until the end.
I'm finding that.
And this is the award.
It was 2 years we didn't pay anything.
Well, because nothing happened for 2 years. It was all in waiting. And I think that's part of the problem with such a long period of time before it actually got to court. It was almost forgot about.
We've done our due diligence as Parks and Waterways. We did look into it. We looked at doing something about it.
But Commissioner, I think it's important that under these circumstances and the presentation we had today, that we go on record to make an explanation to the people that this is the process. I understand the process and I can appreciate their comments, but yeah, they have to understand. So having it on record now with your explanation will help people understand the process and the complications.
Well, the process was we can't talk about it till now. When it will come up, when the bill came, and we would explain it. Now we can talk about it in public. If we were to talk about it before, we would have had to go into a closed session because we were still negotiating. So
Sorry.
It's a shame that she didn't stay back and listen to this discussion because it's answering a lot of the questions.
Well, just a quick question. Is this the cumulative total over many years? And how many years does this go back?
8
8 years?
8 years.
This is the settlement.
That's the settlement.
This
Yeah,
is
but
the
there's-
settlement and the costs that were awarded. The township lawyers' costs have already been paid. by
But
the
this was
levy.
their cost that they're
Their cost,
trying to
yes.
get back over how
Yes.
many years? Like seven, 8
Same as
years?
us, 8 years.
So this is the cumulative total,
8
grand
years.
total.
About 8 years.
Okay.
I think
Right.
that's 8 years.
Wow.
Because I think they used the same lawyer like we did.
Mhm.
So our costs were less than 50, I was told,
Right.
and their cost was 145.
Through the chair, if I may just add to this, part of what occurs when we receive an invoice that is legitimate expenses, we need to pay that invoice in a timely manner. We can't let it linger unpaid. So my understanding in this circumstance is that the invoice had to be paid and it was put to this account for that payment. However, there may still be ongoing conversations regarding the final GL used for the allocation. So if you would, as the mayor suggested, like to provide a letter or anything like that, we could certainly prepare an amendment for that.
Right. So we are going to pay for that, but we are going to send something asking for assistance from the council with what the information that Georgie has put forward. So so I'll do that motion after this then, or should I do the motion now?
Through the chair, we could do it as an amendment to this motion that is to receive the accounts voucher as information. You could put forward an amendment to send a letter on behalf of the commission to council, and we would just need to know what the content of that letter is. That could either be in the motion.
And how would you want to phrase that, Mayor, when you brought it up?
That's what I'm trying, like, you would approve that the agenda be received and that a request be made to council to reconsider the legal fees at $144,700 based on the ruling of Judge Healy. And then we can find, when it comes to the agenda, council will have that information, whatever paragraph that was. And then you forward that request to council to reconsider that balance, whether they want a partner. And that'll be a discussion that we can have council. And I believe we can have it in public now, because it's now, this is just a bill. It's not the court case where everything had to be confidential before, until the appeal period was done, until the judicial order was granted. Now I believe the amount can be talked about publicly and we can have that discussion, right?
Yeah, that's why our legal amounts from our lawyer are all there too.
This is a bill that we're discussing now, right? And the ruling, so.
But our costs for speaking to our lawyer are there now too. I saw it. They're all there. No, it's 5,500.
Could you
It
kind of
was
have that, Rebecca?
55,000.
Through the chair, we're just getting that drafted. If I can ask Nate, we'll put it up on the screen and then you can confirm what you would like in the amendment. And then we can put that on the floor and take a vote on if you'd like to include that amendment.
That's a good idea. The correspondence to council to request the allocation.
So currently, I just started drafting it, that correspondence be provided from the commission to council to request the allocation of the legal fees from the October 31st, 2025 voucher to record Bertrand and I'm not sure, and an AL file 25441.0001 May. And this is where I would look to the commission to determine what you would like to request the allocation of those legal fees be reviewed or
Shared, actually, really.
Shared would be a good way to put it. That's because this is the settlement. This isn't the actual legal fees. This was the court awarded settlement that we're suggesting be shared with the municipality.
Right.
That would be the fairest way, I think, to word it. And then we'll include that comment from Judge Healy.
That she had made, yeah.
through the chair. So we have to request that those legal fees be reviewed and provide comments from the court decision. Is there anything more specific you would like to include there or any different wording?
No, you know which comments we're looking for from the court decision where they say the cost should be shared. It's in there. We'll just make sure that part of the court decision gets sent to council so they can.
Yeah, I wish Georgia had stayed, so we could have got that from her, yeah.
But that says it's there. We'll just make sure the right information gets to council.
Yeah, but that won't be recorded either, will it? Like, we can't listen back to what you just said.
No,
No, but you got that info, that thing that she quoted. Yeah.
Yes, and through the chair, we are live streaming at this time, so it is available on
Yeah.
YouTube to watch back
and it'll
for
be
any
on the
members of
council
the
agenda.
public.
We can make sure all the
Okay, you can
information's
see
there
that.
when it comes
Okay,
in
perfect.
January.
Through
Okay,
the
so
chair,
am
what
I
we
gonna have to
could
read-
also do is we could add to this amendment and say that this correspondence will be reviewed by the chair ahead of providing to council, if you'd like to take that look at it before it's provided. And then
I
you
would
can-
like to see it, yeah, if you wouldn't mind. I think you guys would all want to see it, right? Yeah, yeah, let everybody see it. Yeah. And if you've got anything to say, Deputy Mayor, you have to speak up because you're so tiny up there. I can't see you.
First time I've been called tiny. I appreciate that very much. Thanks, Cal. No, I will jump in for sure. I know my little hand doesn't appear very big, so no problem.
Well, isn't tiny Christmas time? They're doing tiny.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just I'm sitting in my comfies. I just had surgery 2 days ago, so I'm just trying to recover and try to focus here.
Okay, we'll get well soon.
Thank you.
So do you want me to read that, Rebecca? The amendment?
If you just give me one moment here, I'm just going to finish drafting and
Okay.
then. I
Okay,
can
no
read it.
rush. Take your time.
Through the chair, so this is what we have drafted currently, that the motion before the commission be amended as follows. To include and that correspondence be provided from the commission to council to request the allocation of the legal fees from the October 31st, 2025 accounts voucher to record Bertrand and L file 25441.0001 May be reviewed and provide comments from the court decision related to shared costs, and that this correspondence be reviewed by the commission chair prior to providing to council.
Everybody okay with that?
Chair, so we will need a mover and a seconder for that amendment, and then we'll do a vote on the original motion as amended to include that if it's successful to include this amendment.
Okay, we'll put that on the floor. Commissioner Hart, second by the mayor. Any more discussion on that? So as amended?
No, this is to pass the amendment.
Oh, okay, to pass the amendment? Okay.
Yes, through the chair. So this vote is to approve this amendment, and then if it is approved, we'll have a separate vote on the motion, the original motion as amended.
Everybody in favor? Any discussion? No, we're all in favor of that. Now back to the original motion. Is there, I know 7.1's got other things in it too, right? Yeah.
So through the chair, the combined motion now would be that the accounts voucher dated October 31st, 2025 be received as information, and that correspondence be provided from the commission to council to request the allocation of the legal fees from the October 31st, 2025 accounts voucher to record Bertrand and Al file 25441.0001 May be reviewed and provide comments from the court decision related to shared costs, and that this correspondence be reviewed by the commission chair prior to providing to council.
So am I putting that on the floor now?
Through the chair, we do have a mover and seconder for this already, as the original motion had
Right,
been put
so
on the
now
floor,
this-
so we just need a vote.
Okay, so all in favor? No, I've got 7.2, but yeah. All in favor? That's passed. Okay, so 7.2. Accounts vouchers dated November 30, 2025. Recommendation accounts vouchers dated October, November 30 be received as information. So we put on the floor, Commissioner Shoesmith, second by Commissioner Hart. Discussion on that. So I have the treasurer here, do we? Yeah. I just want to make sure everything is okay on our reserves because of what we just had to, what we're dealing with now, right? That was my only question I had, but I think I can worry about that in January. Okay, so any discussion on 7.2? All in favor? That's passed. 7.3, budget to actual date October 31st, 2025. Recommendation, the budget to actual report date October 31st, 25 be received as information. On the floor, Commissioner Shoesmith, second by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion on that? No? All in favor? It's passed. 7.4, budget to actual report dated November 30th, 2025. Report to be added prior to the meeting. Recommendation that the budget to actual report dated November 30th, 25 be received as information. Put that on the floor. Deputy Mayor, second by Commissioner Shoesmith. Discussion? There, all in favor? It's passed. 8.1 are harvesting totals. Recommendations that the report LC 3325 regarding 2025 harvesting totals date October 31st, 2025 be received as information on the floor. Mayor, second by Commissioner Hart. Discussions on that? We got the deputy mayor.
Yeah, I'm just curious, are these totals estimated? I don't know if Chris is in the room. If these are estimated based on actual lifts, or if they're actual lifts and weight for every load that we took out?
So for 2025, the actual barge loads removed from the lagoon are accurate. The weight in tonnage is an estimated from a previous year that we weighed what a bin was when it was leaving. So we estimated that down to per barge load. So that's an estimation, but it's a very close estimation to wet totals of tons removed.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hart.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. Just by way of comment, there's a reduction every year, which I think is shows the effectiveness of the water movement in the clean flow system. And of course, this summer was rather dry, but still, it just speaks to the overall management of the parks and water of the lagoons to keep the weeds down. Of course, we're not harvesting as much, but I think it's a very effective program. That's all I wanted to comment on, Chairman.
Thank you. No, I agree 100%. It's a combination of everything with the harvesting and the clean flow system and everything else. It's adding up very well. We can see 3 years of stats there of reduction. So.
Yeah, because I think, if our tonnage was increasing, the weed coming off, then obviously that would indicate or be an indication of there's other issues going on in the lagoons that we have to address, but very effectively. Thank you.
So it's pretty amazing when you see that, and it's great to see the stats, and I'd love to get that out there where people can actually see what's happening. Your feeling, Chris, is when we were doing so well catching up to the weeds, before we were always behind every year and there was always weeds left in the lagoons. Do you think it's the fact that we're cleaning them up so they're not hanging around so much the next year after? Or because it is amazing how well it's gone. It's gone better than I ever could imagine, right?
And I think it's the ongoing harvesting that's happening. Years past, we weren't able to get to the weeds prior to going to seed, right? So they were always going to seed, always going to seed. This year, we're getting 4 cuts in. This year, we got 4 complete cuts in throughout the entire lagoons. And we were cutting these weeds before they were able to get to bloom and get to seed and removing them. So I think the reduction of weeds and the frequency, we're eliminating the seeds that are getting spread amongst the waterways as well.
So you've made 4 total passes in the lagoons this year?
That's correct.
That's amazing. Actually, I never thought I was hoping to get to 2.5, 3.
If you look at, I think it was back in 17 or 18, I think it was barely troubling to get 1 pass through the entire lagoon system. And now we're cutting 4 times. It's amazing.
And that's what we were hoping. Actually, when we talked about it back then, we were hoping to do 2. That's what we were shooting, one per month. That's what we went after. So it really is. It was an amazing year. It really was an amazing year, how well it went. So
the low water levels also contributed and helped us a little bit, as much as it was a detriment for the boating. We were able to get to areas of the deeper part of the canals that we haven't been able to cut that deep before either, right? We've got areas of the canals that are deeper than the cutters can go down. So the lower water levels allowed us to go to a deeper level this year as well and remove some of those deeper seeded weeds as well.
See, what I'd found with the lower water, they all popped up before. Like when the water went lower, the more weeds we saw, right? So it made it worse. The boats were hitting them even quicker. And the jet skis had problems. Like I'm not sure who takes the complaints last year, but I remember the first few years I used to help Kathy and I would get 50, 60 complaints, no problem. Like people complaining about the weeds. I don't even know if there's any complaints coming in or very few.
Yeah, they all.
I guess you get them, right?
Yeah, they all come through myself and the manager. They all get a program, which is absolutely fantastic. It's great for us to keep on top of them that way. And they are the number of complaints are being reduced every year as well. And this year again was the lowest year of complaints that I responded to this year.
I won't ask you how many.
Thanks.
Okay, is there any more discussion on 8.1? All in favor? It's passed. 8.2, this is Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission meeting schedule. Recommendation that Lagoon City LC 3525 regarding Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commissioner 26th meeting be received, and that the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission 2026 meeting schedule as attached to report LC 3520 be adopted. Put on the floor for me. Look at this way, Commissioner Shoesmith, second by Deputy Mayor. Discussion. I did have discussion on this. What I'd like to see, because I think our meeting in January, and we're not going to really have much, and I know it's going to get canceled. So what I'd like to do is actually move that meeting to the end of January. And that way we would get information on our actual costs for the year. We would get everything caught up by then, and we'd be able to discuss that. And then not have a meeting in February, have our next meeting in March. And that way then at the end of January, we've picked off February.
I'll move that because I can't make that meeting in January. So I can make it at the
Right,
end.
but I'm thinking it's logical because I think that meeting's going to get canceled, but I want to find out what our costs were for the year. Like, we should be able to get most of that by the end of January. I think, which is fair, right?
Yeah.
For sure, I agree. I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's save the actual commission a little bit of money for that extra meeting.
Well, I don't think we need it in February. I really go to March because I think Chris will need us more coming up March or in that area when he's getting ready to get back in the water. And if we're not needed in March, then we can cancel that meeting too. Right?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. So when would you want to move it to in January? I guess I should be asking whether we get the room and whether or not we get our clerks and everybody.
Through the chair, yes, we had that same question as well, if you would want to move the January meeting. So it's good it's being addressed. I do have the calendar open for this room, so we can confirm if there is a date you're looking at. January 29th does seem to be available at this time, which is a Thursday, or the 22nd, which is also a Thursday.
What was the one, 29th?
January 29th, yes.
29th is, what do you guys like for the 29th? Put your hands up. if you-
I'm good on either one.
You're
So
good
yeah,
on the
so far, 29th or 22nd.
What about you, Deputy Mayor? Yeah, thumbs up.
Both days are good for me. Yep.
I'll take 29th at the end. That way we cover everything, right?
And it's closer to February, and then you just skip
Then we skip
February.
February.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Sounds
So
good.
we're going to put a motion forward to do that. Or we do the amendment thing, right?
Yes, through the chair, if you'll just give me one moment to draft that amendment, then
Okay, and
we'll-
also cancel the one in February.
Yes.
Okay.
Through the chair, thank you for your patience. We do have that amendment ready here. Seeing that up on the screen. So that the motion before the commission be amended as follows to include, and that the LCPWC 2026 meeting schedule as attached to report LC 3525 be adopted with the following amendments. That the January 8, 2026 and February 12, 2026 LCPWC meetings be canceled, and that a meeting of the commission be scheduled for January 29th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
Okay, so we'll put that amendment on the floor. The mayor, second by Commissioner Shoesmith. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, that amendment's passed.
Could we get those invites out ASAP so I can populate my calendar, or else I'll get double booked.
Is there any more discussion on that? So we're going to vote with the amendment on it now. Any more discussion on it? All in favor? That's passed. Get those amendments down. Okay, unfinished or new business. 9.1. motion for reconsideration. Do I have to put this on the floor?
Yes, so through the chair, I can just explain the process. So this was a motion that was requested to be reconsidered. So there are two steps to a reconsideration. The first is that the commission would vote on whether you want to reconsider this motion. If that vote is successful, then you would reconsider the original motion. So the first vote is just on whether you want to put this motion ahead for a reconsideration. That motion would be that the commission reconsider motion PW.126.24 adopted on September 12th, 2024 regarding community engagement for Moby Mats Pavilion and bridge signage. So if the commission wishes to put that motion forward for reconsideration, we would need a mover and a seconder and a successful vote.
Okay, so put that motion on the floor. All we're doing is putting it on the floor to discuss.
Just to discuss if you want to reconsider it. And then if you do want to reconsider it, there would be a separate discussion and vote on that original motion again.
Okay, so who would put it on the floor?
I'll put it on the floor, but I need to know why we need to reflect it in some basis.
We're going to talk about it next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's put it on the floor and talk.
Even to reconsider it, we have to.
Yeah, we have to do it. So we got to put it on the floor to talk about it. It doesn't mean we're changing.
Right.
Right, okay. So we'll put it on the floor, the mayor, second by.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
This is 60%.
No, the reason, you want the reason why? The
Yeah,
reconsider,
I
or
will.
you're going to get the reason?
Yes, a reconsideration would be 2/3 majority.
Oh, okay, so I just put it on the floor, so then we have to vote on it now?
Through the chair, you can discuss what the reconsideration is
Right,
for
that's
and
what
the
I thought.
purpose
Okay,
of
so
it.
now we can
Yes.
talk about reconsidering.
Yes, what the purpose of reconsidering it would
So are
be.
you talking about it or am I talking?
Through the chair, you can
I
speak
can
about
talk
it.
Part of the reason that I wanted to reconsider this is I really don't understand that we need all these things. And I guess we're bought, like, I guess the amount of money that we're looking at these mats and so on and so forth. I think we should reconsider because I don't know anybody that's asked for it. And I don't know anybody that needs it. And I'm questioning if the town, if there's an issue there, why the town hasn't done it at the public one. Right? Before, and I'm kind of weird that the private, we're doing it first. And the other thing is we're asking to put out something to the residents and questioning on what our next steps are and what we're going to do. That was part of all of this. And as far as I'm concerned right now with the election coming, I would rather the people talk to the actual Ward 5 councillor running and the deputy mayor and the mayor, and then bring that to the Parks and Waterways after the election, which is what, a year and a bit away. And let's just wait for that. And why spend the money? Why do this right now? I think Lagoon City Parks and Waterways, we should be sitting back more and just letting the election go, let the people decide, and then they can deal with it next. That's the reason I wanted to put this on the floor, because I was questioning on how we're going to put this, what we're going to say in it. And I really didn't know what to do with it, really, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, Commissioner, I think that I got to agree with you on that one, but also if I'd like to look at, do we had any specific complaints? And one thing, and do we have a legal obligation? And it's my understanding we don't have a legal obligation to provide that, because under the regulation is for public, and this is private. And then I'd ask if the township has any of those mats on any of their public beaches. I don't know if they do or not, but I think this is something of consideration as well.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, and just to add to that comment by Commissioner Hart, is I think that there's this accessibility stuff is coming out. There's going to be grants coming out very soon. I think that's going to help with some of these things, and I think that's what the Moby Mats are mostly for. Is that not right? It's accessibility?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that we should hold out and we should just wait. I know that there's a lot of these joint committees coming out, and I think we should wait because I know that the government, I don't know, but I'm confident the government's going to start bringing out some kind of grant programs for these exact projects, and we should hold on to it in our back pocket, waiting for those opportunities.
We're going to support the reconsideration. We'll do that vote first.
Yeah. All in favor of the reconsideration? That's passed.
Now we need the motion. That's just give permission now to vote on that.
Yes, through the chair, I'll just ask Nate to put the original motion up on the screen so you can review it. One thing to note, I will read this motion, but it is specific to providing community engagement on these items. So the motion that's before, if you can just go down. So this is the original motion that's up for reconsideration. That the commission receive report LC 0924 as information, and that we provide community engagement with respect to Moby Mats and Pavilion for 2025 budget, and that we provide community engagement for bridge signage for future consideration. So this motion is regarding whether you wanted to do community engagement for these items.
So we don't need to. So we're voting no, we're not going to do that? Or are we voting yes?
So we'll need a mover and a seconder to put the original motion
Okay,
back on the
so I
floor.
gotta
And
put
then
this-
it's essentially like you're voting on the original motion again. So if you were seeing this motion for the first time, now you could discuss whether you want to provide this community engagement. So it's up to you whether you would like to approve, or if it's not successful, then it wouldn't go forward, or you could propose an amendment to the original motion.
Okay, so what you just discussed here, we're putting back on the floor. So I need somebody put it on the floor. First, Commissioner Hart, second by the mayor.
So-
And now we have discussion.
Yeah, now you have the discussion. If
Which
you don't
we've
want
already
to
had.
proceed, we would defeat this motion then.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, because this was the motion that's on record and we would just leave it and then enter a new motion. It's,
I would I would defeat it, and then in the new year, like not next year, but the year after, I guess, approach it again next, I don't know, a month or two after the election, come back and then decide what we want to put out. Because at that time, we should be able to know if we're doing a community engagement, we'll have something we can put up there instead of one or two things. We could put a dozen things or different ideas and different thoughts, because I'm sure there'll be all sorts of thoughts and ideas coming in the next year or two. Okay, so all in favor, right?
Yes, so through the chair, be all in favor of the original motion. So if you would like to provide community engagement for these items, then you would vote yes. If you don't, then.
So we're saying no. So nobody should vote for it. Okay. All in favor? No, it's not passed. Oh,
are you in favor, Keith?
all in favor? No, nobody's voted for it. So that's not passed. That's the first time I've had a motion not passed.
Well, yeah, because you're reconsidering it and doing away with it, right?
Okay. Yeah. I'd like to hear it. Yeah, we've already done it all, right? Yeah, we're done with it. Okay, so in new business, does anybody have something in new business or unfinished business?
I do, Commissioner.
Commissioner Hart.
Yeah, I just want to point out two things. First of all, I do daily walks through the Lagoon City. It's beautiful. And the improvements to the North Bridge and the pavement and the fence, I just want to comment, really nice job. It makes walking through there a lot easier, and it's not puddling after it rains, of course, snow, but big improvement. And then I also wanted to, if I may, Commissioner, comment directed towards the staff. We're getting the agenda and related documents, particularly the staff reports, a week in advance. And it gives people like myself who are new to the commission an opportunity to do the research and prepare for a council meeting or commission meeting, and it makes the commission meeting a lot more meaningful. Getting them the last resort. So I just want to comment that my personally, and I'm sure my colleagues will agree, that we appreciate getting them in advance. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Any other discussion? The only thing I have is, I just wanted to go over, you guys, and I know Chris didn't get this, I should have forwarded it to you. But we got an email from past Commissioner Bob, and Bob was the one that did all the dredging info for us. He spent years and years. He went all through the lagoons. He measured everything out, and the actual thing we followed the last 8 years is him. He's figured it all out. And he sent us an email, and he's claiming that they didn't do the job properly. They didn't do the amount of footage that we had asked them to do. And he said that it had been agreed on. And normally when I take everything with a grain of salt, but when I see something from him, he's usually dead on. I've always found that over the years. So the last dredging, they did it from the shore apparently. Because they had priced it out running it with a barge and everything. And apparently he says they didn't do the amount. Are you aware of any of that?
So they were able to achieve the approved tonnage removal. It was done on tonnage, not by feet, of dredging material from the bottom of the lagoons in the back end of the bottom end of Cedar Lagoon. And they achieved what they needed to achieve, the tonnage, the remaining tonnage to remove on the original contract. That was all it was all able to be done by shore. If it wasn't able to be done by shore, we would have mobilized and went onto the water if we could, but it was easier to do it from the shore. We did achieve, I think it was 40 some odd loads of material that were taken out of that section of the lagoon.
Would you mind if I forward that to you then, and just to sort of look at it and take a look at that email, because he's usually pretty good at what he says. There's a few other things in there. I think on one of them, I think he's confused on one of them, and that's just for one, and I'm guessing on it. I think that, and we're going back 4 years ago, they did a little bit, but they couldn't finish it for some reason, and then they had to come back and do the other part. And that might be where he's getting mixed up on this. And the only reason he's usually pretty good. When he says things like this, he's usually pretty good on what he says. And I've known him for 8-10 years, and he's done so much for the Parks and Waterways. He really knows what he's doing. He spent weeks and weeks out there doing the dredging, measuring it, doing everything.
Right. Right.
So if you don't mind, Chris, I'll send it to you.
You can flip it to me, and I can have a review for sure.
Not to you.
Yeah.
So I don't think he knows who you are. Right?
No, probably not.
Okay, so I want to just.
Yeah, I was going to say, Senator, because one of his was the length that he said was supposed to be dredged. It wasn't tonnage, it was length, and they didn't go the distance they were
Right,
required.
that's what he said, the tonnage wasn't included, so that's where they might be telling Chris something different, right? And that's why I'd love him to take a look at what Bob says, because Bob actually has all that info with him. He actually has kept it going back and forth and everything we talked about.
Fair enough.
As I know, I argued with him once and I lost. I thought I was dead right. He was dead on. So I learned my lesson. And I think, does anybody else? I'm just going to double check. I think I had something else, but I got it on Tuesday now. So yeah, well, my last question, I guess, to you, Chris, were we able to get our pumps out before all the snow came?
So no, they're still in the shed. They're shut down. I do have plans, hopefully next week, trying to get in there and get them removed.
Okay,
and
because I know we're worried about
work
snow
area.
coming. It looks like it came.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll hopefully be able to get in there next week and get them removed. So.
And the other thing too, on maintenance on those, do we have some sort of schedule of maintenance on those pumps?
Yeah. So they all get serviced annually. Right in the shed there. There's the oil changes and stuff are all done in the shed on those each one of those compressors.
So we do a filter and oil change at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So it's an air filter change.
Right.
And an oil change, yes.
An oil change. And do we ever have some sort of system where we clean out the filters that are coming into the to those pump houses?
So filters coming into those pump
Yeah,
houses?
we put holes in them. They put filters in.
Right. So that's an ongoing thing that we monitor regularly when we make our rounds. And if I have to get the staff to go through and clean up any debris that's collected there, it's an ongoing thing that I watch all summer long. So.
Okay.
Excuse me, Commissioner Chris, do we have, obviously we're meeting probably exceeding the recommended manufacturing recommendation in terms of service and maintenance?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
We have the manufacturer's recommendations for maintenance and service, and we're obviously meeting those recommendations.
Yeah, it's
Probably
the original installer that's doing the oil changes and stuff as per
Right.
spec. So to the best of my knowledge, we're meeting all of those manufacturer specs.
Thank you.
And my last question, Chris, before we go, is the new diffusers were installed, I guess, a couple weeks ago, all around, I guess, 100 Laguna Parkway up in that area. Everything went well. And could you just remind me how many diffusers went in?
So there should be 10 diffusers that were installed there on that system, and they ranged. They started right close to the bridge at Poplar, and then went down to 100 Laguna.
Okay, because I did get a report back from one of the yacht club, and they said we put the diffuser exactly where it should go. It was the perfect spot, and they did notice that you did run the wires tight around the corners, so they're aware where the wire or where the tubes are. So I think it wouldn't hurt to let the yacht club know where our tubes are, and maybe the areas maybe they should stay away from.
So the lines are run right along the shore wall,
Right.
anywhere that's there where the sailboats are going to be traveling, except for where they go out to each diffuser.
Okay.
So the ones, there's two out on the canal that head towards Poplar. Those lines all run the shore wall along the yacht club, but they're in tight to the yacht club or up tight to the shore wall. So there will be no interference by boats at them at all. And then from there, they run on a 90-degree angle out to each diffuser.
So what can we tell
They
them?
should be all clear of sailboat keels in that area.
But when they run it out 90 degrees out, that pipe now is running straight across where the boats go. Can they go on the other side of the diffuser?
Sailboats?
Yeah.
So on the sailboat side, they run up the other shore wall to go out towards 100 Laguna.
Okay. So we should show them this, so they don't think their boats that, like, they're aware where those 90 degrees come out to them.
Fair enough.
We
enough,
should
yeah.
show them that,
Yeah.
right?
They're in the clear. Everything should be laid in the clear. I worked very closely with Weeds Begun to make sure that the lines and the diffusers went in the right place.
And the only other thing I'll say is last time when we ran the pipes that close to the wall, we had residents pulling them up when they were doing their weeds, or they saw them there and they thought it was garbage and they pulled them up. Should we let our residents be aware that we have pipes running now along the front of their place?
I think there were, I know where you're talking about, and that was in Windward Lagoon where we did have that issue. That was only a couple of small occasions, and since have not had any issues in that regard. That year, the weeds, the lines were run after the weeds had been growing. So the weeds were actually under the lines, and they were being held up by the weeds at that point. So when the residents did grab them, they were grabbing them and pulling them up because they were grabbing the weeds that were underneath. Now these lines are all right on the very base of the canal. And I don't think that anybody in that area will be going down that deep to retrieve the weeds.
Okay, so we shouldn't have to worry.
I think we're good.
Remember last time it was 30, 40, 50 feet of line was pulled right up. And then they cut it. They decided to cut it. Yeah. So, but anyways, okay. Those are my questions.
I think we're good. We spent a lot of time focusing on making sure it was put in the right spot.
Yeah, there was a lot of comments on it.
It's never 100% guarantee. I mean, 100, but we've put a lot of focus in trying to make sure it worked right there for the keels of the sailboat.
Well, we'll know real quick.
We will know really quick. Yeah.
Can I just ask you, Chris, how deep are they exactly?
I can't give you the exact depth. They're right on the very bottom.
More than
whatever the depth is. At the time of install, they were probably at 4 feet because the lagoon is that shallow at this point in time. But
so it's not unusual that keel like 4.5 feet.
That's correct, but they're along the shore walls.
Okay. So the ones that are running at 90 degrees.
Yeah. So they'll be in the deeper part of the channel by the time they get to those lines. Hopefully. Okay.
Yeah, what you hope that we tell them that they'll try to go around it. The ones that some of them have, like, I don't know if it's a hook or something, they seem to catch it. Because I know they kept moving the one up at the other end when we first put it in. Like, we couldn't figure out why the diffuser kept moving. Then we realized it's the sailboats that went up and did a circle for a little ride. They grabbed it and they pulled it all around. So it was moving all over the place. All right, that's all I have. No more questions? Okay, so let's how do I do the end here? Okay, so the adjournment. Recommendation, Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission of November 13, 25, adjourn at 10:22. Somebody put on the floor for me. Commissioner Shoesmith, second by the mayor. All in favor? That's passed. Nobody voted against that.